The day had started like any other for Luke, a man whose life revolved around his daughter, his work, and the routine that kept him going. He wasn't wealthy, not by any means, but he was content with his life. His small home, the car that had seen better days, and his little girl, Lily, were his world. Every day, he worked hard to make sure she had everything she needed, whether it was school supplies or just the comfort of knowing that her dad was there. But today was different. Today, the calmness of his day would be shattered by an unexpected encounter, a moment that would forever change his life. It was a quiet afternoon, the kind where the sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden light over everything. Luke had just finished his shift at the mechanic's shop and was heading back home to pick up Lily from school. He was tired, but content, looking forward to an evening spent watching cartoons with his daughter. His mind was occupied with mundane thoughts. What he would make for dinner, whether Lily had finished her homework, when he noticed her, a woman, standing alone by the side of the road. Her clothes were torn and she looked out of place. Her eyes were wide with fear, her face streaked with tears. Luke slowed down, unsure of what he was seeing. She looked like someone who had been running, someone who needed help. Instinctively, he pulled over, his heart beating faster as he tried to process the situation. "Hey, are you okay?" Luke called out as he rolled down his window. He had seen people stranded on the side of the road before, but this felt different. There was a sense of urgency in the air, a desperation that wasn't typical. The woman looked up, startled at first. She seemed to be calculating whether she could trust him. Her gaze shifted from his face to the beat-up car he was driving, then back to him. After a moment of hesitation, she nodded. Yes, I need help. Please, can you take me somewhere, anywhere, just away from here?" She stammered, her voice trembling. Luke didn't ask any questions. He could tell she was in distress, and in that moment, the only thing that mattered was getting her to safety. "Of course," he replied, unlocking the passenger door for her. "Get in. I'll take you wherever you need to go." The woman hesitated for a split second before she hurriedly climbed into the car. She was shaking, her hands clasped tightly in her lap as if trying to hold herself together. Luke tried to make small talk, something to break the tension in the air, but she remained silent. It was clear that whatever she was running from, it was serious. They drove in silence for a while, the quiet punctuated only by the hum of the engine and the occasional sigh from the woman beside him. Luke kept his eyes on the road, but his mind raced with questions. Who was she? Why was she so scared? And why had she been out there alone and in such distress? Finally, she spoke, her voice soft and shaky. "I'm sorry for this." She began, her words rushed, as if she needed to get them out before they could disappear. "I wasn't planning on any of this. I just couldn't go through with it." Luke glanced at her, confused. Go through with what? She swallowed hard, as though bracing herself for something. "I was supposed to get married today, to Carl Westbrook. He's a millionaire, owns half the city, and I ran away." Luke's eyebrows furrowed. "You ran away? From your wedding?" The woman nodded, her eyes filling with tears once more. "I couldn't marry him. I didn't love him. It was all arranged. Everything was planned. He's not a bad man, but he's controlling. He promised me the world, but in return, I was supposed to give him my life, my freedom. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be his trophy wife." Luke didn't know what to say. He had never been in her shoes, never been caught in a situation where money, status, and control overshadowed love and choice. His world was one of simplicity. But hearing her speak, hearing the pain in her voice, it was impossible not to feel for her. "What happens now?" Luke asked, his voice quiet but full of concern. She wiped her eyes, looking out the window as if searching for an answer she didn't have. "I don't know. I don't know where to go, what to do. All I know is that I can't go back there. I can't marry him. I don't want that life." Luke thought for a moment. He didn't have the answers to her questions, but he did know one thing. She needed a place to hide, a place to regroup, to catch her breath. He remembered a little cabin he owned, a quiet place far outside of town, where no one would look for her. It wasn't much, but it would be safe, at least for a while. "I know a place," he said, his voice firm. "It's out of town. A little cabin. It's not fancy, but it'll be safe for now. No one will find you there." She turned to him, her eyes wide with disbelief. You would help me, even after everything I've just told you. Luke nodded, his face serious. You need a place to stay, and I can help with that. You don't have to be alone in this. They drove for hours, the journey stretching on as they moved further away from the city. The further they went, the more the tension seemed to lift from the woman's shoulders, though there was still a lingering sadness in her eyes. Luke didn't press her for more details. He could see the weight of her past hanging heavily over her, and he knew that, for now, the best thing he could do was offer her some peace and safety. As they arrived at the cabin, the sun was beginning to set. The small, rustic home stood nestled between towering trees, surrounded by the peaceful quiet of nature. It was the perfect place for her to find some solace. This is it, Luke said, pulling the car up to the cabin. It's not much, but it's yours for as long as you need. The woman stepped out of the car, looking around at the quiet surroundings. For a moment she said nothing, simply taking it all in. Finally, she turned to him, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, she whispered. I don't know what to say. You didn't have to do this for me. But thank you. Luke gave her a small smile. You don't have to thank me. Just take care of yourself. That's all that matters. She nodded, wiping away a stray tear that had fallen. I will. And, maybe, I can start over here. Maybe I can figure out who I really am, without all of this pressure. Luke watched her for a moment, the weight of the world still on her shoulders, but the first glimpse of hope beginning to shine through. You'll be okay, he said gently. You've already taken the hardest step. As the days passed, Luke kept in touch with the woman, whose name he had learned was Claire. She started to open up more, telling him about her life before Carl. How she had always dreamed of being an artist. How she had longed for a life that wasn't dictated by the expectations of others. Slowly, she began to heal, to find the courage to start over. Luke didn't know what her future held, but he knew that she had a chance now. A real chance. One evening, after a few weeks had passed, Claire came to him with a smile that was more genuine than any he had seen before. I've been thinking, she said, her voice more confident. I'm going to pursue my dreams. I'm going to paint, write, live the life I always wanted. And I'm going to do it on my terms, not anyone else's. Luke smiled back at her, proud of the strength she had found in herself. That's the best decision you could make. And with that, the two of them sat on the porch of the cabin, watching the stars appear in the night sky. The world was quiet, peaceful. And for the first time in a long while, both Luke and Claire felt like they had found a new beginning. The next few days were quiet. The sun seemed to shine a little brighter, and the air felt a little lighter as Claire began to settle into her new life. Luke kept his visits short and respectful, offering support when needed, but giving her the space she needed to heal. He knew her wounds were deep, more emotional than physical, and that time, more than anything, would help her find her footing again. Despite the isolation, Luke noticed a shift in her. She was starting to take ownership of her life again. The first sign came when she asked him to help her gather supplies to start painting. At first, it was just a small canvas, some brushes and paints. She wasn't sure if she still had it in her, but the simple act of creating something, of putting her emotions on a blank canvas, seemed to free her. One day, Luke showed up with a new box of art supplies, a little hesitant, but eager to help. I thought you might need a few more colors to work with, he said, handing her the box. Claire looked at the box for a long moment, a small smile tugging at her lips. You're right, she said. I do need more colors. I think I forgot how much I loved painting. Then, paint, Luke replied. Just paint. Whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It's about what you want to express. For the first time since they met, Luke saw a light spark in Claire's eyes, one that had been dimmed by fear and doubt for so long. I will, she said, her voice filled with determination. I'll paint my story, and I'll make it my own. Over the next few weeks, Claire immersed herself in her artwork. She painted everything from abstract representations of her emotions to peaceful landscapes of the world she now found herself in. It was clear to Luke that the act of painting wasn't just a hobby for her. It was her way of reclaiming her life, of piecing together the parts of herself she had lost. Each brushstroke seemed to restore something she thought she'd never get back. She began to smile more, laugh more, and even started talking about the future in a way that felt hopeful rather than fearful. One evening, Luke brought over a simple dinner: pasta, garlic bread, and salad. They sat outside on the porch, sharing a quiet meal under the stars. The warm night air felt comforting, as though the world was telling them that everything was going to be okay. "This place," Claire said between bites. "It's so peaceful. It's exactly what I needed. I feel like I've been running my whole life, away from the truth, away from myself. But here I can breathe." Luke smiled. "Sometimes, running away is the only way to find where you belong. But you're here now, and that's what matters." Claire paused, her fork halfway to her mouth. She set it down and turned to look at him. "You know, I keep thinking about how I ended up here. How you just happened to drive by when I was standing there. It's like fate, isn't it? It feels like the universe knew I needed help, and you were the one sent to show me the way." Luke's smile faded slightly, a touch of modesty in his eyes. "I wouldn't say it was fate. I was just in the right place at the right time." But Claire shook her head. "No, Luke, it wasn't just luck. You didn't have to stop for me. You didn't owe me anything. But you did. You gave me something I didn't know I needed. Someone who cared enough to help, even when I was a stranger. I can't begin to tell you how much that means to me." Luke shifted uncomfortably, unsure of how to respond. He wasn't used to receiving compliments or praise. For him, helping people was just what you did when you saw someone in need. But hearing Claire's words made him realize